perhaps over tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years. And that they came here to do one thing, and that is to change your DNA, to give you their DNA, which contained the seeds of the Creator. And if you tell that to someone on the street, they would say, "You're crazy. That's just the most ridiculous thing we ever heard." And then if you say, "Okay, we're sorry we offended you. What do you believe?" And they say, "Well, we believe in the Adam and Eve story and the talking snake." And that is the two options that most of you have. One which probably will see science behind it sooner than later, and the other one, almost a fairy tale. Dear ones, it's no fairy tale that the seeds of the stars are inside you. Let the class begin. And so it is.
And so I invite you to close your eyes, and you may even wish to place a hand on your heart as we say these affirmations to our DNA. Dear Layer 7, my Lemurian Layer 1, within my DNA resides divinity. I give permission for this divinity to be revealed. I allow the energy of home to be fully present in my daily life. Dear Layer 8, Lemurian Layer 2, my Master Akashic Record. Within my Akash is deep knowledge and spiritual wisdom. I pull upon my Akashic wisdom to give me health, peace, a long life, and beautiful, loving relationships with others. Dear Layer 9, my healing layer, the cells of my body carry an intelligence known as innate. I give instructions to innate to release the correct chemistry for me, creating peace, balance, health, and long life. I celebrate this cellular communication, and I am an active participant in my own healing. And in your own time, you may gently place your hand on your lap. And from this energetic posture, let us invite the beautiful, loving messages from Kryon.
We're starting to open to other rooms that are yours and always were yours and always will be yours. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. It's a really profound message, is it not, that you just heard. And I want to enhance it even further, but I want it to be this group. There are so many who would ask the process of channeling, it's who's really talking? If you could suspend just for a moment in this room all of the ideas of what you believe is happening now, all the ideas that you've been told by those around you, by your parents, by the authorities, by the teachers, if you could suspend all of that into a soup of unknown, and just for a moment be without any knowledge. that you've been given. And be ready instead to accept that which is spiritual common sense, and that which intuitively you feel, instead of that which you've been told you should. If you could do that for a moment, I tell you what would happen. You wouldn't ask who's talking. There would be a sudden alliance. You could know the words before I speak them. You'd know that inside each one of you there is a glowing, metaphysical, metaphorical ball of energy called your soul. Without bounds it is. Without a place, really, it is. And yet it resides in you. Your soul also resides out of you, and we have said that before. It's enormous. It's got your name on it. Remember, I don't want you to remember. I don't want you to remember anything you've been told. Right now, the playing field is blank with no energy at all. What do you feel is the possibility that you were born on purpose, and that residing in you in some mysterious way is the beauty of the Creator of everything? And what happens in this is a oneness that goes way beyond the room or you or the land you live in. It's a oneness with the air you breathe, which is also from the Creator. And if you could suspend all of the things for just a moment that you've been told, this is the way it works, this is what to expect, here's what's next. If you suspend that, I would like to tell you something. You can start building a truth that goes beyond anything anyone has ever told you. And you can call it, your name goes here, truth. Because it's the truth of you. And you start asking questions, and if you want to metaphysically, metaphorically muscle test them, do it. Am I here on purpose? Yes. Does the Creator of the universe know me? Yes. Is it possible that when I die as a human being, that beautiful part of me goes back to the creative source? Yes. Therefore, say it, it makes you eternal. It makes you not a human. The human is simply the vessel that is being used right now, that's in the mirror every day. But the real you is magnificent and is loved by God. God is the name you made up. Human being, you made it up. If you don't like the name, make up something else so that you like it. The eternal light, the great central sun, Spirit, the Creator of all things. Give it a name. It's you. And what this actually will do, if you can simply suspend all of the chatter of who you're supposed to be, what this does is enable you and empower you to solve the things you came in with. Now we get personal. I know who's here. I know who's here because the God in you and the God in me are the same. You're entangled with everyone here. And without even knowing that which is the problem you walked in with, I can say it's solvable. More than solvable. When you start changing the chemistry of your belief, your body responds. We're going to talk more about that tonight. In fact, I'm going to give you the title of tonight's message. My partner, don't be shocked, because he has no idea. And the title is, Who Do You Think You Are? Now, my partner will worry about it all day. And that's his issue. Dear ones, what I'm telling you, you really don't know. You really don't. You think you do. Yes, I've been told I have a piece of God inside. Thank you. What's for lunch? The profundity of what you have from the Creator inside you is lost on most. And when you start understanding that the fire of creation, of life itself, resides in you, you realize that all things that would straighten out your life are there already in the field. It's a matter of selecting them with a human consciousness that starts to be tuned to this truth. There are those who say, well, I have an alliance to a prophet that I'm very fond of. And I ask you this, does the prophet feature love? And you say, yes, the prophet features love. And I said, then stay with it. Because that is the key. The prophet will eventually tell you that you're God. The prophet will eventually tell you that you're sons of God. There's nothing wrong with the following of those who give messages as long as they are the truth of love. But you're not compelled, dear ones, to go in any direction except one. Except one. Sit there without a bias and accept what is coming in love. How many of you are brave enough to say, I have no idea what I'm going to do about this or that or this or that? But I have peace in my heart for the first time because I know what's coming. Solution, healing, peace. There are those in this room who cannot stop the chatter. I know who's here. And that chatter is something you will say, well, I was born with it, or it's always been there, or I worry about this and I worry about that. Are you listening, my partner? And the chatter is you, dear ones. There are those that say, how can I stop the chatter? And the answer is, by stopping the chatter. There's a button in your brain labeled chatter, and you push it all the time. And it's strange and odd and humorous as it sounds. This is the bias that you've been taught. Taught these things by your parents, by society, by those you trust. This is a shift of everything. It's a shift of you. It's a shift of paradigms. In this planet right now, there are so many awakening to the idea that you don't have to have a certain way. What has happened even in the last 2 or 3 months regarding leaders on the planet who have had a shift, of others who've had a shift? You start to see it on your news, dear ones. Not to repeat necessarily the channel we've given before, but the news will tell you, well, it can't be true, it's temporary, or there's something else, because of the chatter. And the chatter that says that nothing can be good, it'll always return to something poor. And expect drama. That's the chatter. It will someday start to reduce. When human beings tune in and expect good things and not bad. When the very word drama means something else. Let me ask you something. When 33 miners came out of the ground in 2010, Was there drama? And the answer was yes. And it was all over their faces, and they cried. And they hugged one another, and they said, this is impossible. This never could have happened. And the relatives were on their knees. That's a drama, dear ones, that's different than before. It's a drama of rejoicing, of human emotions in a state of euphoria because good things happen. Can you imagine yourself in a state of euphoria with tears running down your cheeks because good things have happened to you? And if you can, that's the first step. That's the first step. Knowing that you're here on purpose, that you deserve good things, and that there's a way out of the darkness. This is the message that Kryon has always given in so many different ways. But for you and for this group and for today, it's practical, it's pertinent, it's real. Now I say what I always say. The message is winding down, so you don't have to suspend your belief anymore. You can go right back and put all the chatter back. Everything that's everybody told you should or should not do can come right back if you want it. So your free choice. Wouldn't it be nice to be your own person to the degree that people don't see you as obstinate or stubborn, they see you as loving. You're your own person in integrity and love. You know what you want. And it has results. And I will tell you, the people who may criticize you today because of what you say in this way will be on your doorstep later asking you how you did it. That's the truth. You have an avenue to peace and solution, lack of drama and health. And that avenue points right back to the source of all that is, which lives in you. And so it is.
I also have a feeling that many of you watching, like me, enjoy crystals. So I have some beautiful crystals with me this evening. I have my labradorite and clear quartz crystal. And so I'd like to use these crystals as an inspiration for a meditation. Because crystals have gone through a process in their creation. The labradorite, for example, it came from igneous rocks, and it was a process of lots of heat and pressure that you had this metamorphosis of creating the gemstone and the crystal that we see. Our planet is filled with so many different variety of minerals and gemstones and crystals that they have gone through such processes, and even being unearthed from the earth, they go through further processes of being polished and tumbled and smoothed. And so I invite you to contemplate, what kind of pressures have you experienced in your life, and things that have polished you over and over to create who you are right now. Because life is happening for you and with you, not to you. Everything that we experience, we have the opportunity of looking at that experience and being polished by that experience. When we overcome life's challenges, we can truly speak to someone else going through that challenge with true empathy, with direct knowledge, direct experience of feeling. And so I ask you to also contemplate how many lifetimes you may have experienced being on the planet. And how many of those lifetimes did you also receive those opportunities of challenge and change? And that well of experience is carried within the very DNA of your cells. You have a gold mine of wisdom that you can access, that you can pull forward. And so I can hear already the next question: how do I do that? It is through giving pure intent and trusting that you will receive exactly what you need. So let us just ask, dear cellular structure filled with beautiful information of my wisdom, of my Akashic experience, please bring out those lifetimes where I was able to hold wisdom, hold compassion, hold love, hold knowledge, and let those attributes come forward. And just trust that the process has already been initiated, and just observe things that will happen for you in this coming week. And so from that posture of connection and love and support, let us now move into hearing the messages from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is the first channeling of this month. There will be 4, just like always. And in this, we title them. These 4 are going to be the love connection. Dear ones, I cannot speak too much about something that is the core, the seed of the greatest energy that exists. And that is that which comes from the Creator. We'll say this again, perhaps in another channel, but this great love is the image you hear that you are made of. Made in the image of the Creator, and that image is love. And so each one of these channels will feature an attribute of love. All 4 channels available to everyone for free on my partner's website. We're going to start this one with the love from those that you don't see, or those that you think perhaps are even not there, depending upon what you have been told in this culture, depending upon the doctrine that you've learned, pretending perhaps that they're there or not there. What do you think of guides and angels? What do you think of the invisible ones? What do you think of that which some say you're foolish to think beyond yourself, or that you're independent? No one's going to help you. Have you been told that? The opposite is true, and it's true in a manner and an energy that is overwhelming in its truth and its beauty. Dear ones, here is the truth. You don't come here alone, ever. No human comes alone. The soul is something that is a beautiful vehicle that comes with you. It does not stay on the other side of the veil, dear ones. This multidimensionality of your soul is right now sitting in the chair that you are watching this in. It is with you. Now, perhaps that is a little less linear than you wanted to hear, but it's true. And in this soul is you in many forms. That's the multidimensional you. The yous that have been in the past lives that somehow still exist with you. And that which we have talked about before, a guide set, which comes in with you and is the same every single lifetime. The same guides, the same angelic presence is with you. Some have felt, well, it's an extension of me. You're a bit right about that. They feel like you. They're part of the higher self that you say is you. You cannot separate these things into linear groups and faces and numbers. These belong to you in a multidimensional state which don't have singularity or shapes or faces or numbers. And yet, it feels like it. It feels like it because they are so personal. I want to tell anyone watching, this is the first time you've heard of this. I would love for you to sit alone tonight and just call them in. If you're there, show me. Go ahead. And don't be surprised if you allow it and if you mean it when you say it, that there might be some tingling that goes on. And that is a yes. That cause and effect relationship of you opening your heart and asking that question is one of the most beautiful things a human can do. I want you to understand that as they come in with you, there is a tremendous love they bring. The love for you, the soul that you are, the human being in the expression that you are. Their purpose is to help you. That is why they are called guides. They are angelic. You don't see them. You feel them. And in their feeling, they also shape your reality if you let them. They're the ones who are the way if you let them. They're the ones who are the way showers. They're the ones who will help you to go to the right place at the right time or make decisions through intuition that they will influence, that says this door, not that door. They're the ones that are in the field with you that we have spoken of before. They keep you out of chance, dear ones. There are those who still say, I'm in a turkey shoot, as they say in my partner's country. That is, I'm rolling the dice every day I step out of the house and anything could happen to me. Not if you're in touch with your guides. Not if you understand the purpose of angelic purpose, the reason you're here. These guides are the ones that often keep you safe. But not unless you acknowledge that it's possible or that they're there. Why is that, Kryon? Why do we have to in order to activate, if you want to say that, the guides? And here's the answer. You have free choice not to. Did you hear that? All your life, if you want to ignore all of them and do your best, when you come back across the veil, we're going to have the same party for you as the one who engaged them when they were 4. 4 years old. Do you hear that? That's no judgment. There is no judgment. But there is opportunity. And that is for those who want to understand that there is love when you come here. And they come with you. I want to paint another picture. I've done it so often before. I want to paint a picture. Here you are on this planet, doing the best you can to survive. Trying your best, perhaps, to be a compassionate individual. Trying to dodge that which you call chance. Sounds like you're a victim of the energy all around you because perhaps things don't go well. And here are guides who are sitting, looking at you, doing nothing. Because you've never greeted them. You've never said thank you. You've never said, I want you to help guide me. I want you to push my intuition. I want you to help me listen. You've never done it. Perhaps because you've been told they don't exist, or that's silly, or that you have to trust in something else, or perhaps there's a prophet, or perhaps you've been told you can't even talk to God. Somebody else has to do it for you. All of those things get in the way of this perception that you have come in with divinity. But because you have free choice, nothing's going to happen until you activate that. Activating means that you sit again and say, I want you in my life. You're real. I believe it. Thank you for loving me. Can you imagine the love they have for you to watch you flail around, believe what you want to, and all that time figuratively, they have their hand out saying, take my hand, just do it. Don't you feel us? Don't you understand? Don't believe anyone else but your own core energy. Drop into your heart and see if what you've been told is right, and we will come in if you wish. All your life they may sit there with their hand out, perhaps to your last breath. That's how much they love you. They never give up. They never give up. They're always there because that's why they're with you. They come with you. Did you know that there's a meeting between all of you before you step into the wind of birth and you come here that says, this time, please, feel us. Don't believe everything you're told. Follow your heart. Believe us. And let us then help guide all the things to take you into the good places where there are no potholes. And intuition will help you meet the right partners and people, so there'll be a lot less of the issues that perhaps you had the last lifetime. Let this be a lifetime of beauty, no betrayal, of compassion and love and good things. That's why they're here. There's so much love. Your guides, your angels are real. They even have your name on them, the name we sing in light that you have. They belong to you. There is a system, dear ones, of love. There is a connection with the love of the Creator, and part of it comes in with you, always with you, waiting for you to acknowledge it so you can move on into a divine reality that you deserve as your lineage of an old soul. I wouldn't tell you these things unless they were real. There's no reason to sell you something when you already have it. I am just telling you to take it. See for yourself if it's real or not. Open that beautiful, beautiful area that will flow into that which is your mind and your heart with a grander truth, perhaps, than you've ever been told. That's why I'm here. I'm here to give you information, perhaps that you've not heard before, that is for you, that is loving, very loving. It's not a doctrine we're asking you to follow. It's love we're asking you to follow, the love of God. I'm crying in love with humanity, continuing to give these lessons so that some of you will have a life change and understand that you're always loved and you're never alone. And so it is. Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Carroll. I am the original channel of Kryon.
You are surrounded by a bubble of benevolence. And this bubble of benevolence is interacting with the nodes and nulls of the planet. And the energy of the nulls, feel that energy pushing up through the bottom of your feet, traveling through your body, and as it moves, it is collecting every negative emotion that does not serve you, that does not honor the magnificence that you hold. And let the energy of those nulls carry this inappropriate energy and push them out through the top of your crown. It is going to push those energies to the nodes on the planet. And those nodes are so sacred, so powerful, that instantly upon contact, those negative energies that were within your Akash are now transmuted, burned up, cannot exist. Inside of you is the spark of divinity, and it is hooked to the field, and the field is biased in love. And you are surrounded by a bubble of benevolence. Perfect synchronicities are unfolding for you. Expect miracles in your life.
So it is good day to you, huh? So very good to see your love, your light, your brightness, your divine presence, dearest beings of light. As we've just experienced, if you were not here and listening to this future, in the future, then you don't know what we experienced, and therefore you need to come to a live event somewhere in time. We've just seen on the screen all the nodes and nulls and the matching of those power points on the planet. So you see, it is no accident that the vessel Marilyn and the Joy just came from Mount Ida, one of the power sites, the nodes of the planet, to bask in the crystalline waters of Lake Ouachita, to wash away anything that no longer serves. For you see, in these times, they are a-changing, to quote some song somewhere. That changing effect is affecting everything on this planet. That is why we bring you to this sacred land here in Unity Village. This land itself was divinely chosen, yes, by Myrtle. She saw the vision, and her intention was to always be in joy, in perfect health, and in joy. That is why she had the Fillmore Manor built with no kitchen, because she did not like to cook. It was separate from her joy. And we want you to know that is your birthright. Joy. That is indeed your experience, and why from the Pleiades you came here on this planet to radiate that joy. And anything that does not radiate joy within you is just to help you see the difference. Huh? You know, when you're not in your joy, you think, oh, I know what joy feels like, and it gives you a pathway to move back to it. And that pathway, breathe it in. Those sacred steps that you are taking to your joy is a powerful walkway. Our dearest Myrtle, who had the vision, she came through with the focus of being a child of God. Yes? I am a child of God, therefore I live in joy. Well, you are a child of God too. And you know, when you think of that, you know your parents here on this planet, the mother who gave birth to you and the father who fathered you. No matter how you feel about your parents these days, they are still your parents. Yay. Celebrate them, for they gifted you with life as God gifted you. So you have that same essence. You have that same DNA or whatever structure of your physical parents on this planet. And as they say, you are a child of God. So you have that same divinity within every cell of your body. Now think of that. Or better yet, feel that. And as you feel that divinity, that essence, then you say, I am here to be joy. I am here to be love. I am here to be the truth. true essence of who I am. And then as you breathe into that essence, you feel that rippling effect that goes out to the planet. And as you have that rippling effect out to the planet, every human around you feels that same essence. And as you are simply living the light that you are, just moving about in your everyday world, those around you will want what you have, for they will sense it. Yes? They will feel it, and they will feel, what is different about this one? What is different about this one? They must know something that I don't know. And then you get to just smile. And as you just smile, that radiance flows forth from your essence out into your field, which touches their field. And they are reminded once again of the divinity that is within you and within them. Shift, and the world around you shifts. We've been saying that for many years here on this planet. That is the key. To know that that rippling, heart-centered divinity, breathe into it, that is in your core. It is a part of your lineage, dating back to the Pleiadians, dating back through God, or source if you prefer the term, is still you. So how can you be anything other than perfect? And all the little bumps along the way, they just add to your perfection, for they give you wonderful stories. And then you can share those wonderful stories. And when you share those wonderful stories, they help teach others to be the teacher that you are. And as you are that teacher, the universe has tapped you on the shoulder or the crown chakra and said, remember who you are. A child of God. The joy that we gave you at your birth is to be radiated throughout this planet. And we are thankful for your service. We are thankful for your presence. We are thankful for your love, your light, your tears, your fears, your joy. And for that, we love you intensely. And we bid you namaste. Namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. For those listening who didn't know it, those listening later, perhaps, who didn't hear it, Adiranda has spoken about your birthright. We have said this before in different words. We said it is your lineage. Indeed, your birthright and your lineage is that with free choice, with you cognizing more truth every day, you start to grasp a hold of what you've always had. a maturity of consciousness that starts to lift you out of the fear, the anxiety, of the hurt, of the worry that is so prevalent at the moment that this particular channeling is being given. I am so aware of who listens, and how many actually are there. Every one of you, dear ones, is known by God, all of you. Your names are known. Your past lives are known. How would it make you feel to know that the purpose of earth and you, an alliance, is known, and that it lays there ready for you to say yes? Imagine that there is something larger that you're to do here. And to some it frightens them and say, well, I've got enough now and I'm worried about this and that. Don't confuse me with another assignment. What if all of this virus, would change not only history but you? This is not a bump along the way, dear ones. The virus is going to be a marker in history where everyone will remember what they were doing and what happened to them. Even the youngest of children will learn it from their parents. What happened to you, they'll say, during the virus. What we did with you to survive during the virus. I'll tell you something, it's in the field, and you'll think it's kind of funny. Already, this virus is going to create fashion changes. In the field, ladies, imagine buying a dress with a matching mask. And when you don't need the mask anymore, there's going to be a button for you to keep it. And it'll hang on you, just in case you need it, even after this is gone. A fashion statement, a remembrance of this time. This is in the field, not just being thought of, but in the works. And there will be so many who will purchase it for fun, and then they'll realize it's a fashion statement. You went through it and you made it. And you'd like to wear that dress. If you never put on the mask, it's still something that will be there and hang there, and people will remember the time of COVID. Let's talk about the time of COVID. What you don't understand is that there also will be celebrations of COVID. And you might say, Kryon, that's not something we can foresee. This is a major time of shift and release. History will show what has happened. And we mentioned that earlier. What will happen now, and to history what had happened, to so much of whether it's your media or whether it's your stores or whether it's your sales, your commercials or whatever, a change due to this time will occur. But the personal change, some of you in the future will look back and say, wow, without COVID, I would never have been released from this and from that. From this company, from this job, from this relationship, from thinking a certain way. Some will say, I got a release of spirit because of this. It sent me into a place of quietness. A place I would never go to, a place that's been known by the Hindus and the monks and the Buddhists for years and years. They've created these places so you could go and be alone and with yourself. Meditative centers, not necessarily what you have in your life or necessarily for your culture, and you were forced into that spot where you started thinking about you. Your birthright is joy. Your birthright is happiness. Your birthright is being peaceful with your life, even in a busy society. And those who have received that will stand up and say, I never knew it was possible to be busy like this and yet so peaceful with everything that's occurring. It's a knowledge that goes beyond logic. A peace, they say, that passes understanding. A phrase you've heard before that means you really don't have the reason to be peaceful. That would be 3D. But oh, you do. It's an indication, a cognizing of who you are. The relationship that you have with the Creator, a child of God. So no matter what is assailing that which you call frustration, normalcy, whatever, you're still sleeping at night. Because every morning you can say, I will get through this and this or something better. And you're right. As time goes on, you will look backwards. And many of you, as I said, will say, because of COVID, I escaped. Because of COVID, there was a release. And it goes so deeply, dear ones. It's a release of the mud and the mire and the tar that you walk through called old energy, a realization of things you didn't have before. The release of inappropriate things in your life, alliances, friendships, partnerships that shouldn't be there because of your magnificence, because you've moved past them. Let me take you to a time, it's in the field, 2102, 100 years, and give a little more. 2102, 100 years and a little more. There will be a celebration. There may even be a holiday, honoring those who, they say, died in this particular time. But to you and your family, and perhaps your heritage, it might be a celebration. A special kind of food will be prepared. Don't laugh. It'll probably be the food that you had to eat during COVID. There'll be a lot of frozen dinners. And you'll put on a mask just for a moment and take pictures and talk about the day when your family was released or your lineage was released or you found what you found, and it's a celebration. Can you imagine such a thing? Well, I want to tell you, this is in the field, because that is what COVID is about. It's a release from the old energy ways that never would have been released without it. They've called it a reboot, which is, of course, a technical term which means come to zero and start over. And the coming to zero and starting over means that all of the old ways, the trainings, the habits, the ways of being, the paradigms, go away. And you come at the puzzle fresh and clean, with no encumbrances of what was there to keep you from changing. That is the release. That is the main thing that COVID has given you. Oh, Kryon, I can go there, but I cannot ignore those who died. There can't be a release when you think about the passing in advance, perhaps, of when they would have gone, of the elderly, of those who are missed so greatly, the sadness that was there. You don't understand. You don't understand. Oh, if I could put them together right now in this room for you, all those who've passed right now in this room, they would yell and they would cheer and they would laugh and they would throw confetti and blow up balloons and say to you, it isn't what you think, it isn't what you think, it isn't what you think. The only sadness is those who've left. There is no sadness for passing into the arms of God where you belong, where you meet the family again. You don't understand. That's a release. It's a different way of thinking indeed. It is a mature way, understanding way, knowingness inside that you are never alone and there is no death. All here will come back and continue the lineage of the old soul and the birthright of joy. And so it is.
Well, before I begin, I want to say Yat E to all our guides, and I invite everyone here to show our appreciation for them opening their hearts and their land. This is your land that we are walking on, and we are privileged, we are blessed. We feel deeply, deeply honored that you have opened your heart and home to us. Thank you. Although tomorrow we return to wherever it is we came from, you are invited to take this with you. It doesn't have to be a distant past memory. The cells of your body know exactly what happened this week. It's in your cellular structure. That can never go away. When you love someone, it doesn't matter how far away on the other side of the earth they are, you are tethered to them. And so I invite you to feel your navel and a thread coming out, connecting into the energy of this place, so that no matter how far you travel away from Monument Valley, this tethering, this thread, this umbilical cord between you and Mother Earth knows exactly where you have been. And you can always connect by feeling in to that deep connection that you have with Mother Earth. And with that connection, I invite you now to close your eyes as we do one last inner journey with our spirit animal, our animal guide that came to us. And if you remember our last time that we were together, we stepped out onto a star-lit night and we looked up into the stars, shining brightly above us. And as we look at the splendor and awe of those thousands of twinkling stars like diamonds shining above us in a blanket of sapphire, we are going to see our spirit animal making its way up towards the stars. And while we are tethered here on earth, our animal guide goes all the way up into the night sky. And we see this beautiful spirit animal traveling up into the Seven Sisters and weaving its way through those planets that make up that Pleiades constellation. And then we see this beautiful spirit animal that has come to us come down through that night sky very slowly, gracefully, making its way down to earth. And as we stand there looking at our spirit animal, we realize it is covered with this beautiful silvery dust. It is covered in stardust. And you ever so gently take your hand and run it through that stardust until a small amount collects in your hand, and then you're going to put that into your medicine bag that your animal guide is carrying for you. And with that connection, we recognize that we are from the earth, and yet we are also come from the stars.
In this star-earth connection, we open our hearts, we open our higher mind, a mind of God, even more. Take a breath. Just feel this space we are sitting at, around the bonfire, here at Navajo Sacred Land, with the guardians of this canyon, with the Navajo guides and their families, with all this region. Take a breath and let yourself sink in more into the beauty, the silent, the energy, the frequencies, the elements of nature, the sounds of the wood fire burning, the softness of the evening coming down, and as the stars soon will come out to greet us. Let your mind rest and open more your heart, your compassion, your kindness, your deep sense of peace, your inner sense of feeling of benevolence, of sacredness, of unconditional love that is always from within you, not from a God that is above you. God is not a being in the sky. God is a state of being. Allow this circle we are in to create that space of Godness, of benevolence, of sacredness. Feel you, extend you, love you, support you, remind you again of how special and how loved you are. What a magnificent being from the star you have come here on earth. Just let it soothe your heart. Let it soothe your soul. Let it soothe everything that you need soothing right now. In a few moments, after the Kryon channeling, you'll have the opportunity of releasing some things that have been etched in your mind or in your heart or in your field. So allow fully your being with your attention and intention and mindfulness. When you get to the fire, when you come close to it, thank it. Thank all those things that may have been difficult for you. And then release them. And then see a new vision, a new opening, a new potential, new synchronicities and opportunities come into your life. Breathe. There is no limit for how much you can open your heart, open your energy, open your multi-dimensionality in your life in every moment of the day. Even when you are washing the dishes or walking from one place in your house to another, preparing a meal, talking to a friend, taking your children to school, visiting your loved ones. It's always there. It's simply our attention in the moment that brings it forth. We recognize and cognize it more. So remember, it's not necessarily big advancements in going and learning certain studies or a school or new methods of healing and so forth. It's what you do in your everyday life. It's how you express yourself in every moment, in every situation. This is where the real light worker shines, with patience, with compassion, with its light shining everywhere you are. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is the last message for this tour with these individuals before me. And in front of me there is a fire. This fire will be used later in a ceremony of release, commitment. And the message tonight, as this final message, is perhaps the most important one of the entire time. Usually I say I'm speaking to the group before me. But this group will know what I'm talking about. And so I'm speaking to all those who will listen later. And what I'll remind those listening later is you are hearing me in the now. It is your time with your ears. The first time you hear this message, perhaps from me, I see you there. There is no time where I am from, and I am from that which is multidimensional energy that knows your soul. That's who I am. But what I am right now is a messenger. And I'm going to entitle this message, The Missing Piece. It's interesting to look at what humanity has done with the idea of a modern God, of how they have structured it, what they have learned, and what the history has shown them. Finally, when there was an agreement, seemingly with all humanity somehow, that there was one monotheistic God, one God, they approached it very differently from many, many places on earth. I speak of what I would call modern religion. But there would be even those who would argue with the term religion. So let us say recent belief systems that have happened in the last 700 years. And they were so filled with compassion and love. Somehow, there was an acknowledgement across the land, across the planet, that this God that they would say was various names and had various attributes and various prophets, but it was always a loving God, or one who cared. And if you take it further, you're going to see the many things that they truly got right. That God was in your heart, or that which they would call God could be with you in certain ways. They got other things right. Almost from the beginning, 600 years ago, one of the opening soirees, you might say, of modern religion or belief systems was the belief in past lives. Not all got that. They believed in energies that passed through the veil from lifetime after lifetime that made you who you are. They got that right. Some of them involved prophets. And almost all the prophets were wise and compassionate, filled with loving information. And almost none of those prophets ever wanted to be worshipped. They wanted to give information, or they wanted to show what regular human beings could do. And they were always filled with compassion. Some were elevated almost to ascension status as they walked on the planet and they healed people and changed physics to show what humans could do. Humans. But none of them, not one, had the peace that was missing. It's astonishing. Through these centuries, that almost all of them missed it. You know, humanity has been elevated. You haven't always wallowed in the darkness. There has been elevation. If you think about just in the last 200 or 300 years, that you now are on a planet that is a caring planet. It's more than it ever was before. Where even those who are in charge of your governments look to you and say, we'd like to have a system of compassion. A system where you don't have to go hungry, or perhaps you can go to a hospital and it will not wipe out your economic structure for the rest of your life. That's new, relatively. You'll not find that 100 years ago. The whole idea of human rights and the way you treat one another is new. So you see, there has been an elevation of that which you will call consciousness itself. And yet, in all of that elevation, there's a piece missing. And you never talk about it. Some will say, well, wait a minute, Kryon, I really don't think we've gone that far since the last 100 years or so. Let me give you, when's the last time you packed a picnic lunch for your children and went to the square to enjoy a beheading? And that's what you did. You have come a distance. But you would expect, would you not, that humanity, as it raises its consciousness, would at some point grasp the missing piece and go, how could we ever have not seen that? What do you think the missing piece is? I'll tell you. That which you call the earth is a living, sentient partner with your cellular structure. The land you sit and stand upon knows your name. My partner was with an indigenous in Peru, sitting at his feet along with others. Some were here today and are here today. And he reached down and picked up a sample of the soil, and he held it to his lips, and he tasted it, and then he put it down. And some asked him, Shaman, what was that? And he said, I'm in touch with my ancestors. Dust to dust. You've heard that, have you not? That all of the ancestors and all of the consciousness of the wisdom of them is in the dirt of the planet. And then someone who had that intellectual mind said, do you do it when you're in another country? And he said, of course. He said, because I am dealing with a multidimensional source called Gaia. And wherever I go, my ancestors and their wisdom are part of the field of Gaia. They're always there, and I touch them in the dirt as a reminder of who I am, who I will be, and who they were. It's hard for so many to understand that there is a partner in the earth. How many times have you ever taken a breath of fresh air and realized where it came from? It came from Gaia, directly from the living things that emanate oxygen. You'd be amazed at where most of that comes from. Not the trees, but the moss and the lichen. Have you ever walked through a rainforest and felt the oxygen rush and said, this is a great place? That's why. That exists, and the whole idea of a photosynthesis with the Gaia energy that will give you a life of oxygen should tell you what this is about. As you exhale, you feed Gaia so that they can have, again, more photosynthesis. This planet is not a thing, dear ones. It is a partner. And the indigenous knew it. They all knew it. There isn't one indigenous who doesn't honor the earth first, the directions, the magnetics, the ley lines, the grids. In other names and other systems that they have, all were metaphoric and related to their partner, which you sit upon now in their land. This is the missing piece. If there was a way to let everyone know who listens to this, that if we start studying this missing piece, something starts to happen. Let's go to the original teaching of this trip. Your soul is multidimensional. This planet has multidimensional grids. It has multidimensional pieces and parts. So much so, when my partner sat in Ireland, one of the meditating women who is known for her strong meditations would start it with this: the rocks are breathing. And she wasn't kidding. This was life in all things. This was life in the air and the rocks and the dirt and the trees and all the things, a different kind of life that you would define. But life is not what you think. Is the earth something that you have to worship? No. What you do with the earth is you greet it as a partner. You request as a partner. You honor as a partner. It's not a thing. It's a partner. Before you go to bed this night, I challenge each of you, perhaps just to say a few words. Dear Spirit, I have no idea how to connect to this new thing that Kryon talks about. Truly a missing piece. It was not in my church. It was not anything I ever learned in my society, in my culture. It seemed like it was something for the ancients, and it seemed quaint. Now I'm finding out it's beautiful. It may even be needed. Dear Spirit, help me connect and show me what to do. And that is like somehow opening a floodgate. All you have to do is have intent to know more. And when that is given through your consciousness, that's when things start to happen. And that doesn't mean you're going to run to a place, take off your shoes, and run into the forest. It means that you're going to be more aware of the air you breathe, the love that comes from the earth that knows you. It knows you. It knew you before. It has known you all along. As an old soul, perhaps it's time to rekindle what you learned on lands such as these. It's all in there, in that shelf, in that library I told you about. Old soul, as you start reaching a more multidimensional energy that is you start to touch the aspects of your soul. And in that, again, a pathway that is multidimensional, going right to Gaia, who loves you dearly, as a partner. You are together in survival on the planet. The inventions to come, I've told you about, will honor Gaia because they will stop using the resources of the planet completely. and the things that are needed that Gaia wants to help you with in the growth of food will be tripled, sometimes quadrupled, because you finally know how. Without GMOs, without modern technology, but with activities that people had never thought of before. Or perhaps even using things as basic as light. There are things you don't know that are coming that will honor the planet and will explode because of it. Explode in a wonderful way, like a flower explodes when it blossoms and says, I love you, human being. Please find me someday and know who I am, because I've loved you for eons. This is the truth. The missing piece is at your feet. I am Kryon in love with all of you. And so it is.